Hey everybody, it's Kay back again today with another CCRN question. Before getting into the question, I want to mention, because I forgot to mention this in my last post, that this upcoming Wednesday, which is July 16th at noon Central Time, I'm going to be doing a 1-hour Zoom webinar on identification of acute ischemia, injury, and infarct patterns on the 12-lead EKG, just for fun, just an hour. And so if you would like to join me, please head over to my website, khoppypresents.com, and you'll have an immediate pop-up that comes up that will allow you to access the registration for this. It's one continuing education hour, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It looks like I have about 10 seats left. So with that said, let's get into our question. Today we have a post-op abdominal surgery patient that has been putting out copious amounts of NG tube drainage over the past several shifts. Which of the following ABGs would be reflective of this? So the very first ABG, we have pH 7.26, PCO2 56, bicarb of 29. B, we have pH of 7.52, PCO2 of 52, and a bicarb of 33. C, we have pH of 7.49, PCO2 of 29, and a bicarb of 26. And then last but not least, we have D, which is a pH of 7.29, PCO2 of 29, and a bicarb of 10. I think the best way to go about doing this question is to start out by just knowing and thinking about what kind of acid-base balance would be created when somebody has an NG tube in place and they're putting out copious amounts of NG tube drainage. So maybe start there with your response or your answer. So take a moment and look over the answers here, and then we'll go over it. Okay, so we know a patient in this situation. You can tell I teach nursing school, right? You know, because we refer to patients as clients. But anyway, so when patients undergo abdominal surgery, the biggest thing is what? Because of all that NG tube suctioning, we're suctioning out hydrochloric acid. And as we suction out hydrochloric acid, it results in an alkalotic environment. So the first thing that we're going to search for when we look at these options is we're going to look to see which one of these options is alkalotic, right? So that's going to narrow it down by 50%. So now we have two of them, right? We have a pH of 7.52 and a pH, another one there that is a pH of 7.49. Now we have to figure out where we're going with this. Well, let's check out B. B is 7.52 with a PCO2 of 52 and a bicarb of 33. What kind of alkalosis is that? Is it respiratory or is it metabolic? Well, you're right. It is metabolic alkalosis. And take a look. I just want to point out, take a look at what the patient is doing in order to compensate. They're retaining PCO2. So in order to be able to pull that off, somebody has to what? Hypoventilate. So I want you to keep in mind always that when somebody has a metabolic alkalosis, because the body is trying to compensate in order to reestablish normal pH, the body's going to hypoventilate to retain CO2. And so just realize that that's going to have an overall impact on your oxygenation as well if somebody is hypoventilating. So let's compare that with C. C is pH 7.49. Okay, that meets the criteria, right? It's alkalotic, but in this particular case, the PCO2 is 29 and the bicarb is 26. Well, bicarb of 26 is normal. PCO2 of 29 is what's causing the pH to be alkalotic. So this person in C is hyperventilating. It is clearly not a metabolic alkalosis. So the only answer that meets the criteria of a metabolic alkalosis, which this person would have, excuse me, after copious amounts of NG tube suctioning, is B, with a pH of 7.52, PCO2 of 52, and a bicarb of 33. So did you get that one? Anyway, think about studying for the CCRN exam this summer. Summertime might be a good time for you to study for the exam. Let me help you with that. Head over to khoppypresents.com and check out my CCRN review program. Thanks a lot, guys. See you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.